people would lift up their smiles whenever they see this couple. But what if the story behind these faces is unfolded? They might not be able to contain it. Well, today is their I-Do day. But let us try to look back few years ago on how their story begun.
Sorting all the lights and darks.
As singles, Bryce and Michelle actively involved themselves in opportunities to enhance and develop their characters. Michelle in February 2010 joined the music ministry. After months of training, she had her first experience on stage in June 2010. A welcome chance to open the doors of familiarity. Bryce, while doing his task as an usher, first had a glimpse of Michelle on stage. He described that sight as giddy and joyful. Without any intentions to get to know her yet, he undeniably admits that Michelle made a lasting impression on him. Come August 2010 was the Victory Weekend. A breakthrough event for Michelle and also an opportunity for Bryce to first introduce himself. As Bryce purposely approached the table where Michelle sits, he was asked to take their picture. Unfortunately, the camera covered his face, hence there was no chance for Michelle to remember him. August, Bryce's birthday month, was a time for him to reflect over his actions and his heart. He set a personal retreat for his birthday and chose to spend it in Baguio. Going through heartache at that time, he submitted his pains to God and claimed his purpose to be fulfilled, despite a seeming failure. Michelle, on the other hand, is in a getting-to-know stage with a new guy she met at church. With a developing friendship and anticipated romance, she submitted her heart to God, praying that His will to be fulfilled in them. As both of them prayed, they waited for God's answer. Bryce, from Baguio, filled with a hopeful heart, came back to Alabang, in anticipation of what God has in store for him. He was surprised though to be in a consistent smile, as he saw Michelle again on stage while he was ushering. Bryce then searched for Michelle on Facebook, but ended up not finding her, since only her name was known to him. Michelle, still in the depth of praying, waited for God's answer. And she received it. It was a resounding wait. She then asked,
"Wait for him, or wait for someone else?"
Without a tinge of doubt, she gave thanks and never lost hope. In one of Michelle's participation in worship leading, she recognized a familiar face doing the ushering. She thought she knew him. She left him a Facebook message to confirm his identity. It turned out, he was not the person she thought she saw. She however grabbed the opportunity to invite that person to church, which that person did. She was blessed to have been a part of it. She however did not forget the person whom she thought she knew. Surprisingly, they met in a strange way, through Rio's Facebook wall. Rio, being Michelle's Victory group leader, was Bryce and Michelle's common friend. In a status update, Michelle left her comment, and so did Bryce. They both recognized the faces that left them thinking of each other's identity. Bryce this time had an increased curiosity of Michelle. He prayed and even fasted for her. He decided to send her a friend request, and prayed that if she would accept it immediately and leave him a message, he will pursue her. As soon as Michelle received the invite, she recognized him and had the urge to accept immediately, and even leave him a message. Without intention for romance, she desired to share a testimony of how his similar face with a friend caused her to invite that person to church. Bryce, on the other hand, was stunned. Filled with conviction, Bryce initiated a conversation with her and eventually asked for a personal meet-up. In November 10, 2010, Bryce invited Michelle to meet up in Robinson's Manila after work. Michelle, though hesitant, felt God's confidence when she decided to meet him up. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Pangin ka
ka ba kasi? Sumasabi ka sa puso ko naman kasi. Pustiso ka ba kasi? You know I can't smile without you. Pagod na ako. Maghapon ka na kasing tumatakbo sa isipan ko. Kasi naman kasi mahal kita. Bagay tayong dalawa, pa-picture na para mapadevelop kita. Hindi tayo tao, hindi rin tayo hayop. Bagay tayo, bagay talaga. Papupulis kita kasi ninakaw mo ang puso ko naman kasi. Kuto ka ba kasi? Palagi ka sa ulo ko naman kasi. Apoy ka ba kasi? I love you. Magsalbabida ka nga kasi baka malunod ka sa pag-ibig ko. Kasi naman kasi mahal kita. Bagay tayong dalawa, pa-picture nga para mapadevelop kita. Hindi tayo tao, hindi rin tayo hayop. Bagay tayo, bagay talaga. Kamukha mo si Papa P, Papa P, John Lloyd P, Papa P, Papa P, P, Papa P, Papa P, John Lloyd. Exam ka ba kasi? Sasagutin kita agad-agad naman kasi. Drugs ka ba kasi? Kaka-adik ka kasi naman kasi. Kulangot ka ba kasi? You're really, really hard to get. Posporo ka ba? E di posporo rin ako para match. Kasi naman kasi mahal kita. Bagay tayong dalawa, pa-picture nga para mapadevelop kita. Hindi tayo tao, hindi rin tayo hayop. Bagay tayo, bagay talaga. Pustiso ka ba kasi?
But truly, did their story really begin mid-year of 2010? They believe not. They thought it was just according to their finite minds as they try to connect all events, but truthfully, they discovered it began a few more years prior to that. It was actually when they invited Jesus to come into their lives. In May 10th 2000 for Bryce, and November 29th 2004 for Michelle. When they decided to have Jesus take over their lives, things turned around. They were constantly refined to become pure as gold, pruned to perfection, prepared for greater purpose and calling, meant to witness amazing things. And just when God knew it was time, He brought them together, in His own intricate and beautiful way. This story may have happened to some in one way or another. But Bryce and Michelle claim that having God at the center of it all, whether as a single or even as a couple, was way different. Realizing God's love and grace is the ultimate appreciation of love in a relationship. Having known this love that they received from Christ, loving each other is like breathing. They may have imperfections and incidental miscommunications, but remembering God's enduring love brings them into proper perspective. Truly, apart from God, they can do nothing. This story is not just a story, it is a testimony. They are witnesses of God's invisible hands working in their lives. And the couple knew that a part of their purpose is to have this relationship to become a light to those who have kept their hope. The hope of finding love. Love not just in the context of being in a relationship, but more than ever, of the love poured out to them at the cross. This is their story. His story.